Coach, obviously some success here at home, but like John said, 6 out of the next 7 are on the road. How do you make sure that the momentum that you guys have been able to build these past couple games carry over with Kent and then straight on to the rest of the schedule?
Well, I mean, we have to show that we learned something, even in victory. And I think that's sometimes it's easy to learn something after a loss. And I think the maturity of a team will be able, mature team will be able to learn even after a victory. And that'll be our challenge this week as we prepare for a very good Kent team on Wednesday. And as far as 6 of the next 7, it's really just the Kent game, and then after that it'll be the American game. They both coincidentally happen to be on the road, but the preparation will be the same.
What are some of the things you're looking at Kent and scouting the tape, and some of the things you'll have to do to overcome Kent?
Well, we're gonna have to do a similar. I mean, they attack the basket just about as well as Ohio. The difference is they shoot the ball much better from the perimeter. So we won't be able to be as aggressive of committing to the drive as early as we did against Ohio. I mean, there were times in the Ohio game that we committed to the drive when they thought about driving, rather than waiting until they actually did it. We'll have to play them a little bit more honest. But their last game against Marshall, they scored 40 points in the paint. So they're a team that's going to cut in there. They're going to post up. They have a lot more of a post presence than we saw on Saturday. But it's points in the paint, and being able to control those points in the paint and figure out how to get some ourselves.
Coach, have you noticed a shift, increase in the confidence of this team, not just because of the wins, but the way that you won, and considering how many points you were down and still stayed with it and still were able to come out with a victory considering the hole that they dug themselves?
Absolutely. And it's a learning process. I know I've said that before, but I can't stress how important it is that these kids learn from being able to win and from lose in every situation they're in. And every time you overcome a deficit like that or win a game, there's a little bit of confidence added to your game. I think that's why you see the good teams continually win, because they expect to win, because they've done it before. They have the experience to have done it before. So it's a little bit uncharted waters for us at the moment, but every experience, even the 3 losses, every experience we've had this preseason has been a positive one for us to learn from.
Coach, you're 5 games in. Is this what you expected it to be? This just the first head coaching job and the experience you've had. What is it? What you expected? Has there anything come up that you're like, wow, I didn't expect that?
No, I mean I think it's gone well. I think it's exactly there's going to be some tough times, and there's certainly some tough times ahead of us. But the kids have worked through it. They've been very coachable. There's been we've had some good practices and some bad practices, but it's been pretty much what I expected. Obviously I hope to win those other games that we lost, but it's a learning process, and that comes with it. And hopefully I've done a good job of teaching them why we lost, and they've done a good job of learning, and we can start to eliminate some of those reasons.
What's the biggest thing that you maybe not struggle with, but just still trying to settle in with as you continue on here and try to get better?
Well, understanding our offense. I mean, our offense is still in its infancy stages. We're doing a lot of things. Throughout the game we do everything right in our offense, but throughout the game we do just about everything wrong in our offense, from turning it over to not setting good screens to not cutting real hard. We still took some bad shots, although that's down significantly from the first 2 games of the season. So, it's certainly a work in progress, and it's something that we need to continue to improve on. That would be probably our biggest obstacle at the moment, is just to try to become a little bit more comfortable with our offense and with each other at that end of the floor.
Seems like Kent's got a couple girls with some size, and you had mentioned earlier that you're going to have that pretty much everywhere you go. Anything in the game plan specifically designed to try to capitalize on maybe some of your quickness and some of your better athleticism?
Yeah, we're going to try to stretch them out. We're going to try to get them away. We're trying on the defensive end. We can control them a little bit in that they have to guard our players. So we can put our players where we want them to try to keep them away from the paint. On the offensive end, unfortunately, we can't control them. They're going to go near the paint, and we're going to have to figure out a way to stop them. And we're going to do it with numbers. We're going to try to outnumber them in the paint and try to make plays on the passes out and into the perimeter. But, against IPFW, it was something that really hurt us, and it'll be interesting. We'll see more of a low post presence this week, so it'll be interesting to see what kind of carryover we have and what we've learned since that IPFW game to see how we can defend in the low block on Wednesday.
Tierra mentioned that you let the girls enjoy practicing and the wins and things like that, but there's always some room for improvement, things like that. Even with, I think she mentioned you guys show some top plays, and you have some critiques about things that can do. How much do you take it on, or what do you put on yourself to say, hey, you know what, these were great wins, but there's always things that we can work on?
Well, that's our whole practice. That's it right there. Is that you have to. I think if you don't take time to celebrate the wins, it becomes, what's the point of winning? I mean, you got to at least enjoy the win. There has to be some excitement and enthusiasm and joy, just pure joy in actually winning the game. But you're fooling yourself if you think just because you won, you did things correctly. And that's the trick to, and that's what good teams are able to do, is get better after a win. After you lose, there's usually 2 or 3 points that are just glaring weaknesses that you try to fix. And sometimes when you win, you cover up those points a little bit. Maybe you shot it a little bit better, but you didn't really execute. Or maybe they just missed shots. Maybe you didn't guard correctly. They just missed shots, and you got the win. So I think it's breaking down the tape and figuring out, what can we get better before we play again. And that's something that we're going to look at today. And she is correct. There will be a tape session this afternoon. And we'll address both those issues. We'll show what was successful, and then we'll also show what we were deficient in, and try to improve that by Wednesday.
Pretty good.
Real quick, Coach, obviously Brandy getting some recognition from the conference. Certainly it's no secret in this building what she brings to this team, but is she starting to gain a little bit more, I don't know if it's notoriety within the conference with the way she's able to be playing?
Well, yeah, she's scoring 20 points a game. I mean, and she's she's phenomenal. She's playing great for us right now. She's rebounding the ball. She's starting to defend better. And she's doing it in a limited amount of time. She's just only playing 30 minutes a game and scoring the ball. I mean, it's pretty efficient offensive work. So, yeah, I'm real happy for her. And just like everybody else, she's got room for improvement, and we'll try to do that. It'll be interesting to see how people start to play, because they played us pretty honestly for the most part, and I'm sure there's going to be some things coming our way in the next couple of weeks, and at least by conference play. So it'll be interesting to see what people do and how we're going to counteract what they do to stop it.
How have you seen her develop from, obviously, more than just a player, from maybe take a leadership role as she's growing into the offense, into your system in just her second year at the school?
Well, she's doing a good job. You got to understand, she's young. I mean, she's a sophomore, but she's only 19. She's really young. And, leadership is something that's difficult, because you got to be willing to have people not like you at times, and that's hard for a young person to do. But I think the thrill of victory, so to speak, has trumped that people not liking her type thing. And she's starting to grow, exactly what you said, she's growing into more of a leadership role. And being talented makes it a little bit easier, but it's still a tough thing for a young person to do, and I think she's making progress. And that's something, of the things we want to see her get better at, that's something that we want to see her continue to do, and to continue to just raise the standard for her teammates and raise the level of expectations amongst our team.